systems, as we're seeing in the judicial system, until we come out and say it, and we're all hiding behind, just policies and basically, politics. And we should, it's a sad day. It's a sad day in our country.
Well, when we come back, Attorney Jones, I want you to react to this, because this is where we see that elections have consequences. And see, everything is hitting us at once, Attorney Jones. We still don't have executive action on voting rights. More than half the states have enacted voting restrictions. Restricting voter access. We're in the midst of this election season. We still don't have police reform, and now we've basically lost our Miranda rights. We can just keep on going. There were a lot of decisions of great consequence that were handed down by the Supreme Court last week. In the meantime, State Senator Lena Taylor, we've got this health crisis in the poor and Black communities that is going unaddressed. State Senator Taylor, no one's talking about this. No one's talking about the fact that women are dying of heart disease. I would think that, when you get pregnant, you're excited. Much, if not most of the time. No. We didn't realize that women were taking their lives into their hands to bear their children in the United States. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a few minutes. You know what, Lena?
Johnny shoves me and kind of grabs me.
Yes, ma'am.
We need to do something nationally with Dr. Fakarede. Attorney Jones, he cannot be a secret with his findings and with the work that he's doing down in Mississippi. This is
right. He's doing work in Mississippi.
Wait a minute. Tell him you moved from Memphis.
The heart of the Delta. I've spoken about, it's called the Black amputation epidemic. If you Google it, you'll see the work.
No, I know. I understand the reality of how many people experience it, and it's like they do it no different, Doc, if I could just be honest, the same way that they were doing with hysterectomy.
Oh my gosh. Wait a minute, have a fibroid. They just give a Black woman a hysterectomy, and it's like, what happened here?
And as you know, the history of gynecology, sadly, the clinical godfather of gynecology started off practicing on Black women slaves. That's where he got his fame from, by practicing.
What's his name? Marion what? Because they had a big statue of him in one of the parks in New York.
Absolutely, Marion Sims. Absolutely.
That's right.
So, the fact that we're talking about something that where 70% of these deaths that we're talking about in our Black communities are preventable. 70 to 80% of amputations, strokes, heart attacks, the Black mortality events, 70% are all preventable. And then now we're saying, you know what? We're going to give you guys the poor social determinants of access to anything, and then we're going to restrict y'all from going anywhere. And we're going to put out laws that says that you can't have any of these services afforded to you locally. It is sickening. It is just sickening. And not to mention, there are 8 counties in this state without hospitals.
That is crazy.
Listen, I can't say that we have it in a county, but in my district, I don't have a hospital.
Only 8%.
And then 70% of the uninsured population are African American in Mississippi, which rejected the American Affordable Care Act, by the way, right? They rejected it. So now,
hold on one second. Attorney Jones.
Yes, good morning.
Please tell Barbara Arnwine about. Would you all please discuss this?
He's looking at voter registration.
Well, I'm going to ask you for the doctor's contact so we can get them on our show as well.
Because and we need to tell any other radio host or anyone on television about him, please, because
parts of the wooden
this is connected to so much in our lives, our basic health care. And it's like no one is dealing with that. I say that, Attorney Jones sent me a picture of him. He had just finished running a marathon. But the fact is, we really live life from a particular place of comfort. I'm not saying that anyone should be too busy to take care of their health, but when you go, they're about to remove a Whole Foods from one of the poorest Black communities in Chicago, and we celebrated them putting this Whole Foods in there fewer than 10 years ago. I'm like, why are you taking it out? It's a food desert in Inglewood. As a matter of fact, in Inglewood, the Inglewood section of Chicago, the life expectancy for Black people is 30 years below what it is of white people in the North Shore. 30 years.
Wow.
Oh,
That's similar to the life expectancy of the black man in Tunica, Mississippi,
Oh,
which is
gosh.
not where I am. Is actually worse than the life expectancy of anyone born in Cuba today, or similar to the life expectancy of a third world country in Africa.
I've been to Tunica.
And I'm Nigerian, so I'm African. I know this.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that is, to me, this is not the America that I read about, dreamed about, and publicized.
Bless your heart. You mean you didn't know what we were going through over here for 400 years?
Girl, I did not until I got here.
Are you serious? You thought we were just chilling, having a good time over here, huh?
I thought equity and equality. That's the thing. You have to know the difference between equality and equity. And
Did you really think Black? What did you think Dr. King was doing over here?
That's when I was 12. What did I know, right?
I mean, but what do you? I mean, I don't.
What is a 12-year-old African? Actually, I'll be honest. What does a 12-year-old kid in the Mississippi Delta know now?
That's the tragedy, isn't it?
Because the tragedy is, what are their literacy levels to understand the truth behind what's going on? Because the public school systems is just a sham. And what they're teaching these kids and what they're seeing, what they're doing, are all different things.
Oh, wait. Jean said, I think they can hear me. Thank you, goodness. Thank God. Jean said, this show is inspiring me to get busy. And make sure you vote tomorrow, everybody. Make sure you vote. And I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring you in, Attorney Jones, very quickly, because voting has consequences. It has consequences, but the Democrats have to go on and get on the stick. When they win our vote, attorney, state senator, Lena Taylor, we need some executive action on this. And then at the same time, you've got to get a Dr. Fakorede to testify before House and Senate committees on health to explain the crisis that we're in. I just see so much happening right here, right now. Oh my gosh. We have to have another conversation about heart disease in Black women. And in women overall, but in Black women.
30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, the Black community carries the highest percentage of deaths from cardiac, heart, and vascular disease, but we represent 12% of the country's population.
Why?
That is social determinants and racism. Period. It's that easy.
Well, okay. Well, there you have it.
10 seconds.
I got it. I got it. It's just and Coach May, I will go to Jerry. Thank you.
Okay.
Change the world. We can change the world. We can change the world. Change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love. It's not too late. Gotta save the children. We can't wait. Let's change the world. I am breathing.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. We're talking about Roe V Wade today. We're going to be talking about Miranda, that particular case. So much of those Miranda rights, when you're arrested and you're told what your rights are, well, police don't have to do that anymore, thanks to this particular court. We're going to talk about that, really another day. I want to talk about Roe v. Wade because as we talk with this panel, we see that there are a lot of layers to Roe v. Wade, and Roe v. Wade is almost behaving the way COVID is. Reverend Tisha Williams, who gives us the good word every Friday, said COVID is a snitch. Well, Roe v. Wade is a snitch. It's uncovering maternal mortality rates in the United States, Black maternal mortality rates, which are higher than anybody else's. It's uncovering the inequality, and inequities in our healthcare system. I mean, because let's face facts. Women with money are always going to have access to the finest of whatever. They can do it privately. They don't have to do it publicly. But working people, working women, working people, poor women, they don't have access. They don't have access. And then when you see all the other issues that impact the termination of a pregnancy or pregnancy related issues, we got a lot to unpack today, and it's going to take us more than 2 days to do that. So it's Monday, June 27th, 2022. I'm Santita Jackson. Let's talk about Roe v. Wade. And we're going to have Deidre Bauman. Who is she? She's running for judge. I'm going to try and feature as many um, of these candidates as I can, so you can know who you're voting for, the questions you need to be asking tomorrow here in Illinois and around the country as we have more primaries. In Chicago, we're going to have a high of 71 degrees, sunny. Monday, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 84 degrees, partly cloudy. The NHL, there is a new Stanley Cup champ. That's right, Colorado Avalanche. For the first time in more than 20 years, they are now the Stanley Cup champions. I know Tampa Bay was trying to do a three-peat, but wow, they did a repeat, and that's a great thing. They're a great team. They made it to the finals once again, but the Avalanche beat them out 2-1 last night, and they are now the Stanley Cup champions. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche. Major League Baseball, the White Sox 4, the Orioles 3. They'll be playing the Angels tonight, the White Sox, the Cubs 6, the Cards 5. The Cubs will be playing Cincinnati tonight, and the Twins 6, the Rockies 3. The Twins will be playing the Guardians tonight. In the WNBA, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Chicago had a showdown, and it was a close one, everybody. The Sky 88, the Lynx 85. We're talking about the Roe v. Wade decision and the fact that trigger laws are now, at least 10 states have effectively banned abortion since the decision last week. And many more states are set to enact varying trigger laws to limit access to the procedure. What does that mean? It's a divided America, truly. About 26 states, half and half. Half the states will allow you to have an abortion, half will not. What is that going to mean? And the termination of a pregnancy, what goes into that? We are talking with this tremendous panel about this today. And this is where you see, wow, Hillary Clinton said it. Elections have consequences, and many people are caught up in what they did not like about her. Well, how do you like this now, everybody? Call me at 773-763-9278, 763-9278. Before we get back to Dr. Oluso Fakorede, a heart and vascular specialist out of Mississippi who's been saving lives, stopping unnecessary amputations. He stopped that. But he's also having to deal with this crisis of women not having access to pregnancy-related services and to overall health care. Unlike men, a woman's reproductive health is tied directly. State Senator Lena Taylor from the great state of Wisconsin, your reproductive care is tied directly to your overall health. Every 28 days or so, whatever your body says, you find out at a particular point in your life exactly where your body is. But as you get older, you still are vulnerable in that area of your body. So this is really big. Of course, we've got attorney Daryl Jones from the Transformative Justice Coalition. We haven't heard from him, but before we do, let's go to Jerry from New York City. Jerry, you all had a tremendous Pride March there yesterday, but it was, people while they were prideful, there was still a lot of pain because now it seems that Justice Thomas is going to go after LGBTQ plus rights. But how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I want you to hold tight because I am going to share a deeply personal story that touches about everything that you've been discussing this morning. And the reason I'm going to share it is the main reason is I think it's going to be helpful to the conversation.
Okay. Oh, go for it.
Are you ready?
Of course, go for it, honey.
Okay, so this is one of the most liberating, one of the most liberating moments of my life. I am a survivor holistic manner, and the way we react to it, it negates the whole picture. We don't understand that life is much more nuanced than that. I am definitely pro-choice, and to say what I'm saying, it takes a lot of courage, and it's not easy, and I've thought about it long and hard. My mother has since passed, and I hope she will forgive me if, she never wanted it known. We never discussed it. But I think it's important because every single day and ever since I was born, I was told that I am something that should not be here. So I touch a lot of buttons. Now, what I mean by when we receive the information in a holistic manner, let's look at another way of looking what I just told you. My mother, who died of breast cancer in '82, was a single mother, and she did not look at me and see my father. She looked at her baby that she loved, and she raised me along with my grandmother to be the man I am today. I have my master's in counseling. I'm an actor and a playwright, and I'm a viable citizen, and I'm doing the right thing for the community and for myself. So I'm valuable. And I think that when we receive information, I'll give some examples of some of the things I've been hearing this morning. And I'm paraphrasing. It's all Democrats. We're at where we're at because the whole Democrats did not do X, Y, Z. We are where we're at in essence, and it's a little bit more nuanced than this. But we have a senator from Arizona. We have a senator from West Virginia. Public senators. That is more true than all Democrats are not doing anything. How did it happen? Well, one part of how it happened.
Well, no, I need you to get, Jerry, I need you to get right to the point, sweetie. I'm sorry.
Okay, my right to the point is, if we're going to get out of this mess, a better way than what we have been doing is looking more holistically at it rather than just taking bits and pieces of it to satisfy our preconceived notions or our perceptions. We need to approach these things and put all the facts on the table. And that's what I just did.
Well, I think that when you hear that, Jerry, you're hearing about historic disappointments, because the fact is both parties are corporatist in nature, and so oftentimes you'll find them in bed with one another. That's why you see Democrats rhetorically will stand in one place, but they don't move. For example, Senator John Cornyn out of Texas said immediately after this decision was rendered, now on to Plessy v. Ferguson and on to Brown v. versus Board of Education. These people are going after Plessy. They are trying to revive Plessy. What is Plessy? Segregation. They're trying to reimpose that. Brown v. Board of Education, equal protection under the law, enabling you to get equal access to equal high quality education, which they have not enacted yet. So no. And I have not seen any major Democrats react to John Cornyn. That's a problem for me. I know who Joe Manchin is. I know who Kirsten Sinema has been, was, but she flips all the time. But I need the Democrats to come up with a unified, strong response to this. What do they say? Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. Republicans aren't feeling Donald Trump. He's not even a real Republican. That's why calling it this is the Trump Republican Party, that's a joke. He has been everything. But what he has done is captured the imagination of the Republican Party, and the Republicans have now fallen behind him because they let him be the standard bearer, even as they try to get rid of him. But if he can garner some more votes, they'll live with him so that they can enact a corporatist agenda. And we need to be clear on that. And I'm not going to give any party the space on corporatism, Republicans or Democrats, because it's not helping any of us. So let me go. Let me have because we have not heard from you, Attorney Jones. Why don't you react to what this brave soul has been sharing with us today? And we just thank you for feeling that you could share this journey that you've had, because you know what? I am glad that you are around, Jerry. And I'm glad that you can share your story with people because it is so powerful. It is so powerful, so powerful. Kind of hear where you're heading, Jerry. Attorney Jones?
Yeah, thank you, Santita, and certainly, hats off to Jerry, and kudos to him for his determination and his willingness and ferociousness in standing up and representing his story and his journey that he's come on. One of the things that I really wanted to lift up, Senator Taylor in Wisconsin, State Senator Taylor in Wisconsin, was lifting up the triggering law in Wisconsin with regards to the abortion movement, and that once the Supreme Court cleared the way for states to make the decisions regarding whether or not they were going to permit ladies to have abortions or not, that Wisconsin now immediately allowed that law to go, or the law automatically went into place. Well, one of the things that folks may not have heard, and I want to be certain that everyone hears this clearly, with the law in Wisconsin as it has been laid out, what happens is that if a woman has an abortion and is found to have had the abortion, she is then charged with a felony. What does that mean? Well, that means in the state of Wisconsin, you lose your right to vote. So not only have they now made a very difficult decision with regards to having a child in that decision, but now if they're found guilty of it, they lose their right to vote. And it's not for a small period of time. It's an extended period of time that's in Wisconsin. So why is this significant? Well, this becomes significant because we know that one of the ways to deal with the Dobbs decision and the Supreme Court's decision has to be through legislation and through the vote. And the way to overcome the triggering laws and everything else that are in place in Wisconsin and similar states is to have federal legislation that is enacted. But in order for that to happen, of course, you've got to have representatives that are representing your interests and the ability of women to have the power to make decisions over what to do with their bodies. And let me also lift this up, Santita, because when we're talking about that right to make those decisions in Wisconsin and many other similar states that have now enacted or are enacting these anti-women laws with regards to them having control of their bodies. One of the pieces that Senator Taylor lifted up on the tail end of the legislation that says that it becomes a felony for women to have an abortion, and unless it is a danger and to save the life of the mother. Well, the piece, of course, that's missing is who makes that decision? And so when we listen to Dr. Baclarada with regards to Mississippi and all that's happening down there, determining the danger of the pregnancy for Black women in Wisconsin, we know is now going to be increased. He said 33%. Well, who's making the decision that if they go through with the pregnancy that is endangering the life of the mother? Who makes that decision? Is it the doctor? Is it the woman? Who makes the decision? These are the problematic areas that exist with regards to the Supreme Court's decision. And you see the Supreme Court was silent on it, right? They didn't give any guidance to this at all. So these are the major issues that are there. This is the reason why we need to be certain that you check on your voting status, you check on your candidates, you get people in office who truly represent your interests. There cannot be a greater clarion call than what Justice Clarence Thomas has blown with regards to where he intends to take this fight. He doesn't intend to stop with the abortion rights. He doesn't intend to stop at same-sex marriage. He doesn't intend to stop stopping contraceptive use. He doesn't intend to stop at affirmative action. He's going after voting rights. All of this is on his itinerary. There is no greater time to check on your status, check on the status of the voting of your family members, your friends, your neighbors, and drive this matter at the polls. Because if you want your interests represented, you better get off the sidewalks, get in the streets, walk to the polling place, and vote your interests. Santita, I can't say it any clearer than that.
Well, I don't think it can be any clearer than that. I mean, when you see, I'm going to because we only have about 5 more minutes left. I want to hear from, I want to hear from you, Dr. Fakarede, and then I want to hear from you, State Senator Lena Taylor. And I'd like to ask all of you to come back. Uh, well, we're going to be doing election coverage, but, we're going to have to talk about some of this tomorrow, but certainly on Wednesday, because State Senator Taylor, let me just, well, let me, Dr. Fakorede, I don't even know if we really understood, I certainly, the just all of the health implications. Number one, I didn't know Black women were having so many, not just the pregnancy related problems, but terminating the pregnancies, but the reasons that they're having to do that. It's not just because I can't afford the child or just no, no, no. There are a lot of things that are going on um, that I think we really need to pay attention to that we have not really discussed, Dr. Fakarede.
Yes, it's the concerns, and I do concur that the problem in this is the lack of shared decision making. As I've said, not only the doctor but the patient deserves a voice and making that choice, and more importantly, that patient determines what's best for her in this case, and the impact in Mississippi that already has a weakened health infrastructure. Highest proportion of vulnerable hospitals, lowest number of doctors per capita. It will be devastating. Economic repercussions due to increased poverty lasting multiple years by this constraint. There'll be less funding for social services, lower wages, barriers to healthcare. I mean, talk about a humongous loss of economic potential in a state where already 7 in 10 Mississippians have problems paying medical bills as we currently speak and can barely make it to their appointments. And so to me, it's from a heart and vascular standpoint, we've already known that these disparities in care existed pre the decision. It's unfortunate that a lot of these sick patients were not taken into effect in terms of high-risk patients who cannot carry or who cannot be counseled appropriately without personal bias into this discussion that this is strive for a goal of providing for their families with all the tools and support necessary to come to a decision that is best suited for them. And so we have a sick care, not a healthcare, and one that is rooted in systemic inequities in care. We need to address that across the board, and we need a whole other hour for that.
Well, and then some, and you're going to get it this week, I promise you. Last 2 minutes belong to you, attorney. She is also an attorney, but State Senator Lena Taylor. Whew.
The issues, the social determinants that the doctor speaks to, I think it's 20% of the medical issues that we have are, things that may be genetic, and 80% is based on the social determinants. And one of the things that the doctor stated that's so very real is racism and the effect that has directly on people of color's health, but especially women of color. I saw so many studies that have been done now, and it continues to grow, that no matter the woman's education level or her financial status, in our state in particular, that what we have found is that women will have children and their children will be premature. Those health disparities are the realities of the environment, of racism, of all of those things. And so this is not going to happen legislatively. And we're going to have to make sure that we're holding individuals accountable. And right now we're going to have to press for at the federal level to get the Dems to do what needs to happen as much as they can, use every tool in the toolbox that they have in order to be able to protect women and Black women in particular are at the heart of this challenge. And we've been the ones that have delivered for the Democratic Party for as long as I can think.
Yeah, and now they've got to deliver. And everybody does. I mean, look, everybody has got skin in this game. Women don't get pregnant by themselves. and they shouldn't raise these babies should they have them by themselves. That having been said, this is uncovering a whole lot, Attorney Darrell Jones and State Senator Lena Taylor and Dr. Fakarede. I cannot wait to have you back. I've got to do a lot of election coverage tomorrow, but we need to continue to have this conversation about our health because we're walking around, we look well, but we're sick as we can be. Oh, we've got to do something about that, everybody. We've got to do something about that. And now we're seeing that maternal deaths in the United States, which has the highest rate of maternal mortality in the industrialized world. I mean, this is for white women, black women, brown women, yellow women, red women. Every woman in the United States, if she is having a baby, she's taking her life into her hands. Now, that is ridiculous. In the richest country on earth, where's the money going? You can't have a country without people. You can't make this stuff up. Back in just a minute. Take me out. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't even get please out.
You okay?
Honey, I need a cough button. Oh, no. Yeah, see, there you go. It was just a cough. I just felt a little tickle. And not a COVID tickle. It was just a... What was that?
Nowadays, when you cough, everybody does it.
First thing they do is duck. It's like, I don't want to be, Lord, near this person. And people get angry with you. I'm like, whoa, hold on. But fortunately, I survived COVID, so I'm grateful for that. You know, and oh boy, I took so much vitamin C. I think I changed colors. Well, you know, I was reading in the New York Post, before I let you all go, I was reading in the New York Post in March of 2020, you know, when, you know, everybody was, dying from COVID in New York City. You know, I have a lot of friends who are physicians that I shared with you, Dr. Fakarede, and they were looking for cocktails. They were looking for ways to save people because they didn't, you know, no one knew anything. And they started treating patients in New York City with high doses of vitamin C, and it was getting them out of the hospital. Just as my friends from Europe were calling me and asking me if I was taking vitamin D. They said, you got to take vitamin D because the African descendant population and the people of color over here are dying because they're all dying. They don't have they are vitamin D deficient. So this we know, and this was early in 2020. So, you know, I'm always looking. But no, it was just a legitimate tickle. Oh, bless your heart. You are, man. I'm not going to call you anymore. I think I might just come wrapped up in a box when I see you in August.
Yes, man.
So we need you to make sure that we have the doctor's information so that we can make those connections, like Daryl was saying, to get him on radio and just share his knowledge with others.
May I pass you? I'd just like to pass your information to the senator and to Attorney Jones.
Absolutely, and I think that you know, we just have to keep on talking about it from the different perspectives. As it impacts each and every one of us moving forward. This is a generational issue, and I've always said this. You know, the amputation epidemic is a different form of lynching, medical lynching, because 80% of folks who get amputated will be dead within 5 years. 80%. And when you see an issue like this, and you see a death sentence being imparted to the most vulnerable, someone has to speak out, and that's why I appreciate the opportunity to come on board and talk about how this is going to impact the next 30 patients I'm about to see, 80% of whom are Black females within the next 4 hours. That's my daily why, and that's what we do. So I appreciate all the attention y'all bring into this, because it affects every specialty. And this is not just the OBGYN issue.
Attorney Bauman's up.
This is a health care issue, and every society needs to speak out against this. So, thank you very much.
Oh, you know what? I have to have you back. Come on now. I'm good, but you're gonna hear from me again without a cough. Oh.
15 seconds.
Okay. You guys, I'm gonna run. I've got to go to move on to this next interview. But I thank you all so much. But we'll be talking, Lena. I'll call you a little bit later, and I'll call all of you a little bit later.
That sounds great.
I'm sending you a text shortly.
We can change the world, change the world, change the world. We can change the world, we can change the world, change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love, it's not too late. Gotta save the children, we can't wait. Let's change the world. I am breathing.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. You know it is election day tomorrow, everybody, here in the state of Illinois. We've seen all of these other states have their primaries. Well, now it's our turn, along with several other states. And one of the things that we're seeing with Roe V Wade and the Miranda decision, and they had a voter ID decision last week. There were so many. Elections have consequences. They do. So you need to vote, please. If you please vote tomorrow, vote today. You can vote early today. Go to vote.org. You need to make sure that you're still on the voter registration rolls. Even if you're not, if you find that your name has been purged, not to worry. We have same day on-site registration. So at least you'll know that. But we also closed 73 precincts in the city of Chicago. 73. So what does that mean? It means that 120,000, up to 120,000 voters won't know where to go vote in their neighborhoods. Of course, we have the super sites, but in your neighborhood, like I can go vote next door, really in the next block to me. Well, will that still be open? I don't know. So we need to find that out. Go to vote.org so that you can find that out as well, where you can vote in your own neighborhood. But we need to know who we need to vote for, right? Whom, shall I say? I mean, just what? And we absolutely do not understand the process of voting for judges. We have no idea. And you need to know them. We've seen from the Kyle Rittenhouse case. We've seen from the Ahmaud Arbery case. These are people who have tremendous power. From Jussie Smollett's case, they have tremendous power, but we don't know who they are. Well, this is someone who's been very involved in our community for years. We know who she is, but I'm going to give her a chance to share more with you. She is a member of the LGBT community, and so I want to wish you a happy Pride Month. But you know what? It's just like my birthday. I celebrate my birthday for a month and really all year. Attorney Deidre Bauman, and I'm sure you celebrate Pride all year. But you have a really interesting biography. And of course, to fully disclose, she's someone I know, someone who I like very much, who is very active in the social justice and the civil rights space. That having been said, you said something that I thought was very interesting. Number one, let me ask you, why are you running to be a Cook County judge, a Cook County Circuit Court judge? What do you do in the Cook County Circuit Court that you might not do, say, in a municipal court, that you might not do, say, in a federal court?
Oh boy. Well, the federal court system is much different. And I actually I've been practicing 29 years. Mm-hmm. I've done quite a bit of federal court work. But what's wonderful about state court judges, the state court judges, and we don't have municipal judges so much anymore. The circuit court mm-hmm. judges really hear every type of case. Now, there are judges, for instance, at 400 Superior, who they hear licensing or tickets and so forth. But most judges hear everything from traffic matters, divorce, injury, contract, things that affect people, every day. And that's one reason, it's critically important that we have judges who have experience. And after 29 years, I certainly do have that experience. It's also important to have judges who understand what people go through in life and the circumstances that people face. I've done, I've focused my practice on employment discrimination, civil rights work, personal injury. So, I know firsthand what obstacles people face. So judges are, really important. Just because everyone at one point or another will come before a judge.
Well, because we know that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: why do you want to be a judge now? I mean, what is it that you're seeing?
You did ask me that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, because I told you I was going to ask you a lot of questions because I'm very curious.
Yeah.
We don't often get a chance to talk to lawyers who are aspiring to be judges. I mean, there's something that you see and something that you understand being in a courtroom that the rest of us don't see, that the rest of us don't understand. And really this year, or certainly over the past 12 months, we have seen with our own eyes just how powerful judges are. We've seen some judges we don't like, we don't understand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to know, what is it? Why do you want to be a judge? And because you're seeing this, you're in the courtroom.
Right.
What can you do, particularly given this strong social justice background that you have? What makes you want to make the move there?
Yeah, I've seen injustice. I've seen unfairness. I've seen people being treated horribly. People not being given the voice that they're due. Certain types of cases being dismissed. Certain types of people not being believed just because of who or what they are. So, yes, I believe this is a calling for me. I went into law to make a difference, to help people, to make a change, and I want to do the same thing as a judge. And at some point, I came to believe, well, I can make a difference in the judiciary. This is the way things are, and I run much of it or some of it. I don't want to lambast, entire groups of people, but it's not acceptable. We need people who understand how to treat people, how to listen, how to follow the law, and so forth. So to answer your question, we need a change. We need judges who understand what's going on.
We're talking with Deidre Bauman, attorney Deidre Bauman. She's running for Cook County Circuit Court. She's running to be a judge, and this is the opportunity for us to ask questions about what judges do, and specifically why she wants to be a judge, and what you have the power to do once you get there. Or is that something that you should even talk about before you get there? I mean, do you think judges should campaign before people? It's because, we get into the booth and we see all of these names. This is the longest list of names in the history of writing. And you're supposed to vote. And, and you do almost mindlessly. I don't, because, Reverend Jesse Jackson has always put out a list of people that he's personally endorsed.
Yeah.
The organization doesn't endorse people, but he's personally endorsed people. And with that, I'm trying to find out, how do you campaign as a judge? I mean, you're supposed to be fair and impartial, right?
Absolutely. And, as a judicial candidate, we are not supposed to talk about any real political issues, although I am not a sitting judge, so I think I have a little more leeway in that respect. I actually think campaigning is a very good thing. I think it is good for people to meet the judges, and it's good for judges to meet the people that shall be serving. And if that doesn't happen, we have much more of a disconnect between a judge who does have significant power. I mean, you follow the law, you listen to the facts, but there so often is some discretion, in certain circumstances to consider other things. Because I still believe that justice is ultimately what we're going for, and fairness. So yes, we have to accept and honor that judges do have authority, and certainly the judges need to understand that they are there to serve people. Not to abuse authority, not to overstep anything. They are there to serve and to reach justice, to follow the law, to listen to the facts, to treat everyone equally. And I think running for judge does help some people who might not have the breadth of experience maybe that I do.
Well, what experience would you be bringing to the bench?
Well, first of all, I've, in 29 years, I've been a litigator. So I actually started out in the public defender's office, was not there for long, but did felony jury trials. And then went on to a small firm doing constitutional law, and then ultimately opened my own firm. I had a partner for a while, but we did employment discrimination, personal injury, civil rights work, but a lot of other things as well. So I've practiced in probably every type of courtroom, in every courthouse in Cook County. And I've done over 50 jury trials. So I know how to do that. So that's all very important. And many of the candidates do not have that type of experience, don't have the breadth of experience. State's attorneys, public defenders, they have a lot of courtroom experience, but they do not have the breadth of experience that I bring to the table. So I think that's all important. And of course, although I've done civil work primarily these last years, I have continued to take criminal cases, primarily pro bono to continue that practice, which I like, criminal law, criminal defense. So for people who, for whatever reason, haven't been able to or don't want to go with the public defender, I have represented them on, smaller cases. So that is what I bring, and that is what is different from other people. Now, I'll say you talk about, the number of judges up for consideration. Just to give everyone a sort of a background, there will be, I think, 10 countywide judges that you are going to elect. And in each of those countywide vacancies, you'll have 2 to 3 people. And when we begin to run for judge, we have to get petitions, circulate petitions for a particular vacancy. And that's how that works. So these judges, the candidates are not replacing anyone else, or I should say anyone currently sitting necessarily. These are judges who have retired, who have left the bench, and so forth. So you'll see those 10, 2 to 3 in each race. And then there are the sub-circuit races in certain points in the county. There will be sub-circuit races, and the county was divided into sub-circuits at one point, and I don't remember when, because there were certain groups of people who could not be elected countywide because of who they were. African American, Latinx, Jewish, LGBT, things of that nature. Those certain groups of people were more easily electable at a more local level. So they created the sub-circuits. And with the remap, apparently, I haven't followed this closely, but for the next several elections, we're going to be electing judges primarily out of the sub-circuits because they created a whole bunch more sub-circuits. So it's kind of an interesting thing. The judges elected in the sub-circuits, judges elected at countywide, do the same thing. There's really no difference at all.
That is really interesting. I mean, as you run, you are in the thick of this race, and of course, we await the results tomorrow. What do you want to bring to the bench? Interestingly enough, when I lived in New York, I lived in the apartment of a man called by the name of Judge Bruce Wright. They called him Turn 'em Loose Bruce. And he was of national renown because he would, I guess he was like the progressive prosecutors. He would not send children to jail and people to jail for what are now today minor offenses. Now, would he behave like a father and upbraid you for bad behavior or for being errant? Of course he would. But he really didn't want you to have a record, right? Or he wanted to find a way to, corrective justice. Isn't that what justice is supposed to correct you? And it seems that all it does is punish.
Right.
So what do you think of that? Again, it's because I've known you in the social justice space. And it's just like I knew what Judge Mathis was going to bring to his television show because I know his background.
Yeah.
I knew, as funny as he is, he really does have a very serious message about turning his life around, and about giving people common sense advice. Common sense advice. It's almost as if he's sitting on the floor with you, not sitting high, looking low. What do you know? So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think our system, the system has been doing a better job. You mentioned juveniles. Well, we know now that young people, their brains are not developed the way.
You remember Dr. Carl West used to talk about that. He said, both sides of your brain don't come together till you're 25. He said, so you are just not right. Oh, wow.
That's exactly right. So in the juvenile justice system, there is much more leeway in terms of helping people restore themselves. And, for many years I worked with the Chicago Bar Association with the Restorative Justice Program. And I firmly believe that is the way to go for most minor, maybe all minor offenses, and certainly juvenile offenses. So the idea is to restore people back into the community, whether the community is the community at large, whether the community is in a school or in a church or what have you. So, I think, yes, we know that punishing people, and now I'll turn to, adult defendants who have spent some time in prison. We need to make sure that when those people leave prison, they are able to live in the community and thrive in the community. So, punishment is one thing, and people do need to, you do the crime, you do the time, is what my dad always says. But once you do your time, you're done, and you need, so we need to support that group as well as they're being released from prison with education, with social support. The families of people of incarcerated, they need to be supported as well. So,
Why do you say that? What do you see? And as a judge, how would you have the power? What could you do about that?
Well, as a judge, currently with the adult population, I think there's less of ability to offer. It has to be from a community level. It has to be from a structure beyond the judge. We need programs that we can. The judge herself can't, necessarily help the person, but they can offer services, offer organizations, and things of that nature. So I would love to see more of that. I would love to be able to offer every single person who comes before me, but on both sides. These are some other options that you have. This is what you can do. This is some support that you and your family can take advantage of. That would be a wonderful thing. Right now, I don't think that is actually a lot of what is going on. And to the extent I can offer people the services and help beyond just the legal, I will do that.
But the
to
fact
the extent I can.
We're talking with Deidre Bauman. She's running for Cook County Circuit Court. She's, all these names. Remember hers, everybody. The fact that you want to do that means so much, particularly when these people who come before you, they're in the most vulnerable place, Attorney Bauman.
Right.
They're really literally at your mercy. And to hear that you don't want to lord over them, you want to lift them, means so much. I mean, I watch Caught in Providence. One of my favorite people who's a very, very dear friend is Judge Frank Caprio. And the way he adjudicates you remind me of him. It's like, wait a minute, let's find a way to redeem you. That's what Judge Mathis does. He's like, no, I need to redeem you. And I think when I look at the popular judges on TV, they look to redeem, not to put all of your options to rest. I want to give the last 2 minutes of this program to you to let people know what you hope to do. Deidre Bauman, everybody, running for Cook County Circuit Court. Attorney Bauman?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to address your audience this morning. I am Deidre Bauman. You can find more information about me at baumanforjudge.com. My punch number is 177. And I just want to let everyone know that I have the broadest based experience. I understand what the citizens of Cook County face. I understand the problems because I've been there and my clients have been there, and I've faced and my clients have faced poor treatment by the court, and I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference every day, and if I can do that, I will consider it a success. And I hope that I have everyone's support. I ask for your vote.
Well, I thank you.
Get out early voting today.
Yes.
Or tomorrow.
Well, I want to thank you for respecting the public enough to come before us and present your case. So many people who run for judge, we don't see them. We don't see them. And you were very eager to be seen and to be heard, not just so that you can be seen and heard, but you want to make your case. And I have a lot of respect for that. I have a lot of respect for that, Deidre Bauman. Yeah, absolutely. But of course, she's celebrating Pride all month, like I celebrate my birthday next month, everybody.
Happy Pride.
My girl. What did she say? Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing this. I thought about you yesterday, girl. I thought about you yesterday. I said,
I was marching.
I wish I could have been. I've been having some stomach issues and I could not get out yesterday. Well, I'm recovering from COVID. It might be part of that. I don't know. But that having been said, my heart certainly was with my brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus community, but she puts herself in the whole community. I've known her for a minute, and she is always fighting for justice for everybody. And so we love you, Deidre Bauman.
Love you too.
Blessings to you. Blessings to you and your family of pets.
Thank you.
My girl, everybody. I love you, everybody. Can't wait to be with you tomorrow. Vote, 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 vote. Vote today, vote tomorrow. We see from this Roe V Wade decision, the Miranda decision, the voting ID decision, and the things that do and do not happen. Voting and not voting has consequences. Get out there and vote, everybody. I love you. Can't wait to be with you tomorrow, God willing, on the Santita Jackson Show. Have a great day. Deidre Bauman?
She just left.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know we had a crazy day today, but I don't know how, somehow or another, it all worked out. Is that crazy?
Just a rocky first part of the show, but I think everything kind of took care of itself after.
I don't understand it. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. I think that's part of the problem, the part of the challenge, I'm going to say, of being on first thing in the morning. Everything happens and nobody's up.
No, yeah, you're right. Like when you are like the first show on in the morning, you're kind of like the guinea pig for testing technology that day.
For everything. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it could be a little tough. Here, hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna say goodbye to my audience and I'm gonna cut off here. But I want to thank you for everything.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
God bless you. Be well. I love you all, everybody. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being with us. We all tried to work it out. She really is a lovely person, and I appreciate the fact that she wanted to campaign and speak to you. That's very, very important. So at least that's one judge at least one that in the booth. So, oh boy, I love you, everybody. I cannot wait to be with you tomorrow on the Santita Jackson Show. Everybody get out and vote. I love you. Bye-bye.